My name's Matt and I'm ready to die. I'm finally ready to kill the old version of myself and step into the new identity and become the character who is capable of achieving the life of his dreams. Now, why? Why do I have to kill off this old identity in order to become someone new? Well, very simply put, right now, I'm not capable of achieving the life of my dreams. Otherwise, I would have already got there. You see, all my life, everyone around me has always told me, "Oh, Matt, you're so clever, you're so smart, you have so much potential." And this bred a real ego in me. This gave me a sense of entitlement because, yes, I do think I'm quite smart by, normal people's standards, in the sense that I usually find things a lot easier than other people do. And this has bred a piss poor work ethic in me, where I basically effortlessly got the best grades in school. I achieved results that people tried hard for with very little effort. And this obviously taught me the entirely wrong lessons going forward in life. And I've known for a very long time, longer than I can remember, that I didn't want a normal life, that I wanted to be exceptional. But only when I was 18 years old and I took a very large dose of LSD one night and completely scrambled my brains, got into a bit of a psychosis, that it finally awoke something in me. This primal dread of working a 9 to 5 and living a mediocre life. It awoke this realization in me, but I didn't act upon it for a very long time. As a matter of fact, for many years afterwards, I was still, being a complete loser, smoking weed, fiddling with my pee-pee, eating garbage, going to the gym and getting a better physique, but still living like a complete loser in the rest of my life. I spent many years in absolute chaos, getting fired from jobs here, quitting other jobs there, always battling my vices and addictions and my piss poor habits and mindset. I had this desire to build a life based on my own terms, a life of freedom and abundance where I knew that I had to be in control. But here's the problem. I was a complete retard who didn't have the right to take control of anything, even my own life. I would go through yearly cycles where I got so sick of myself and fed up with my bad habits that I decided to start building something. I would embark on a venture of sorts to try and escape my situation. And every single time it would get even slightly difficult, I would give up and stagnate. I would resume all my old behaviors, and my mindset got even weaker because I lost so much trust in myself. I'm absolutely sick of it. I can't keep living in these cycles of making progress, gaining momentum, actually working towards the life of my dreams, and then falling off, losing focus, getting distracted, and returning back into a stagnating, congealing blob of failure. To escape this fate, I have to kill this current identity that's been holding me back all my life. And to step into someone new, I must be reborn. So I'm commencing a 3-day rebirth ritual, which is not going to change everything, but it's going to give me a reset. Because you never change your life from just one event. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon, like the cliche quote says. It's all about the daily habits, the daily thoughts that you have over a span of years and decades, and maybe even a century. But in order to start shaping these habits and beliefs, I think a good place to start is to cleanse your system of all this filth that is polluting your brain. So for the coming 3 days, I will be fasting, not just from food, but from content. I will not be playing anything in my headphones as I walk around my day. There'll be no music, no podcasts, no YouTube videos, no freaking Netflix, no movies, nothing basically, just a clear mind. And as I fast, I will gain clarity through journaling, just writing my thoughts, clearing up the chaos in my mind. The only activities that I'm allowed to do are read, record, write, and exercise. And essentially, I want this to be the building blocks of the rest of my life. I want these daily habits to be exclusive for the rest of my life, but in order to achieve this, I must do at least 3 days of no dopamine, no cheap, easy pleasures, not even the release of satisfying my hunger from food. And so, once I reintroduce food back into the equation, I'm sure this process will become a lot more enjoyable. These next 3 days are not going to be fun. They're not going to be enjoyable. They're going to be difficult, don't get me wrong, but they're going to give me the reset that I need moving forward to start murdering the old version of myself every single day. And that's why I'm recording this video, because I want to take you with me on this challenge to show you, what it's like to reset your mind, get some mental clarity through eliminating any pleasure. And I'm starting the first day of this challenge with a goal of getting 1,000 push-ups today. That's nothing crazy. There are people who literally do thousands of push-ups in one single go, but I've never done that amount of push-ups in a day before. Never done more than 200 push-ups in a day before. And so this is going to be a challenge for me, especially because I'm not going to be eating. So let's see how it goes. Let me start off with the first lot of 250. The push-up. An exercise as old as time. Ever since the first human fell over, then got back up, by planting his hands on the ground, he realised, oh damn, I can get a succulent engorged chest by just doing this exercise. And so as the years evolved, the push-up stayed exactly the same. Perfect. Up until the modern day, where many calisthenics athletes perform just push-ups and manage to get an incredibly aesthetic chest just by doing lots and lots of reps. As you can see by the obscene pump in my chest, the first 250 push-ups are done, and man, I can't lie, that was a lot harder than I thought. Which makes me feel like just a little bit of a pussy, because there are some guys who can crank that out in one set, and that's still a warm-up. My idea going into it was, yeah, I'll just do 10 sets of 25, because usually 25 push-ups is a breeze. It's like it doesn't even register, right? But I didn't account for the lactic acid buildup and the fact that the pump just makes it so much more painful. So yeah, 25 push-ups is easy, but when you don't rest enough in between each set, man, it gets impossible very quickly. By the end, I was literally doing sets of 10 and 15 just to get through and complete 250 reps. And it took me about 27 minutes to do all that. So the rest of the 1,000 push-ups should be even more fun. And so to make it more fun, I decided to pack up and visit a local nature reserve so that I can do the rest of these push-ups in beautiful, beautiful nature. And as you can see, I'm getting a nice tan, getting absolutely scorched by the sun while I do these reps. This time I opted for doing sets of 20 until I couldn't do 20 anymore, and so had to do 15 and 15 for the last two sets. By the end of this, almost all the sets were absolute grinders. I never thought 15 push-ups would be this difficult. It's actually becoming absurd just how sore my pecs are getting, and it's only halfway done. 500 down, 500 left to go. Man, it's gonna be a rough day, but a fun one, because even though it was painful, and even though I do feel like an inferior little bitch for being so weak at push-ups, you know, given my obvious muscularity, nonetheless, you know, it feels good afterwards. For my next round of push-ups, I find a nice, deserted, wooded area where there's some lovely shade. And instead of cranking out 250 in one go, I opt for completing 100 between 5 sets of 20. And even so, these sets are becoming harder and harder, as you can tell by my grotesque face. As I'm 600 push-ups down, I can't help but be grateful for this beautiful present moment. I'm surrounded by such incredible scenery. You wouldn't believe it. I'm not even gonna try to show you, simply because you can't capture this beauty on camera. But man, there's nothing like it. For the next round of push-ups, I decided not to do 100 or 250 in one go. I decided to do sets of 20 intermittently for the rest of my time in this nature reserve, and just divide it up by choosing some new nice locations to give you a little bit of variety to look at.
and for me as well, because changing up the scenery is a good way to make this very boring exercise a bit less boring. And at this point, I'm struggling even to crank out one set of 20 after 12 minutes of rest between the last set of 20. I'm honestly going to the point of failure where I can't even complete 20 reps, meaning I have pushed way too deep into my recovery threshold.
I literally feel like I'm on psychedelics while being insanely clear-headed. It's a very strange sensation, but it's only gonna get stranger as the day progresses and the chest gets even more cramped and the hunger grows greater and my mind becomes sharper.
So to finish off the day, I come home and decide to complete the last 240 reps all in one blitz. Basically doing sets of 10 with a very short break in between. And I know what you're thinking. Short break? Are you resting 10 seconds or 30 seconds? No, I'm resting 2 minutes. And I know what you're thinking. 2 minutes is a short rest? You absolute pussy. Yeah, I agree with you, but at this point, I'm completely beaten down. My triceps tendon is clunked up, my shoulders are messed up, and my body is just completely battered. And so I become very greedy with this last set, and I try to do the last 30 in one go. I only managed to get 20 and literally go for 21, and I literally can't even push up a single inch. So we rest a bit and then finish off the last 10.
Well, 1,000 push-ups has officially been completed, and the only notable difference in my pecs is how red they are, because I did take the piss a little bit and I absolutely scorched myself in the sun. So I'm going to regret that tomorrow, I can tell you that. But man, 1,000 push-ups, what was the point? Well, on a challenge like the one I've embarked upon, whereby I'm fasting from food and any kind of entertainment or stimulation for 3 days, it's very important to set myself a task to do, to center the day around, so that as I'm pushing myself mentally with the hunger, I can also push myself physically. And man, I was perfectly happy not eating while I was out there in the gorgeous scenery, enjoying nature. But as soon as I got home, the beautiful smell of cooking food, gluttonous cooking food, it wafted into my nostrils, and the ravenous beast was unleashed. All of a sudden, my hunger just came out of nowhere. And this is the dangerous part. This is when your inner voice starts to cope. Your inner coping cuck. Let me trademark that right now. Your inner coping cuck. No, that sounds shit. Okay, no, we'll trademark something else. But your coping cuck. He starts really sleazing you down. He starts to seduce you. Something along the lines of, oh, just eat. You've earned it. You've done 1,000 push-ups today. You've spent all day without any stimulation, getting mentally clear. Yeah, have a feast. This is the perfect time. No. This is exactly when you should have mental frameworks to quiet that coping cuck and realize that no, you set yourself a mission, and
you're not going to stop that mission until it's complete. And then, once a mission is complete, yes, you can have your food, you can indulge a little. But anyway, that's the end of today's ramblings. Tomorrow is a new day. It's another beautiful day today. Man, the crisp freshness of early summer rain. Nothing else quite matches it. But anyway, enough poetic ramblings. Let's give a little update. So, I slept a long time last night. I haven't slept over 8 hours for a while, but yeah, I went to bed about 7 p.m, woke up at like 4 as usual, and 4 a.m. always feels disgusting when the alarm goes off and you just want to turn it off and go back to sleep. It never feels pleasant, which is exactly why I do it. But this morning, there was a certain lightness and clarity at waking up at that time. Don't get me wrong, I'm still absolutely exhausted because, coupled with the detox from food and screen, I'm also detoxing from the caffeine. And man, the withdrawals are making themselves very apparent. Yesterday, as I was going about my day, every time I sat down for too long, I felt myself, closing eyes, like starting to nod off a little bit. And I'll be honest, I think it was mainly the push-ups that kept me awake. And today is not going to be a day to physically push myself. No, today is going to be a day to physically recover, because my triceps tendon, my pecs, my shoulders, they all feel just messed up after yesterday's push-ups. And so I think the most sensible thing to do today is not do any intense physical exercise. Don't get me wrong, I will be walking, maybe quite a lot, we'll see, but the goal of today, physically, the physical challenge, if you will, is just to recover. Today is going to be a day for deep introspection. I'm going to fill up pages and pages and pages of journaling, just getting my thoughts out there. The objective of today is to make a clearly defined plan of attack. I want to break down my next medium-term goal and then break it down into weekly and daily tasks. And that involves obviously asking a lot of questions, even about my own values and beliefs, because I truly want to build a life where I'm living the perfect day every day. I don't want to build a life of servitude to, my boss, even my customers and clients. I don't want to build myself into another prison, just like a 9-to-5. I want to build a life where I'm living each day and I'm doing the work that I actually deeply care about, that the world also needs. But man, the rumblings of my stomach is getting pretty nuts. I went for a long morning walk to try and get a bit of energy back, and for such a long time I was fantasizing
about the meal that I'm gonna have to break my fast and my meal plan that will follow in the weeks and months ahead. I can't wait to eat. It is 5:15 a.m. on day 3 of my rebirth ritual. And what can I say apart from, wow, this feels quite incredible to be so clear and free. This is the first ever morning that I've woken up at 4 a.m. with this much energy and clarity without any caffeine, which feels quite nuts to say, but this detox clearly is working, and man, it feels good to be so unencumbered with bullshit thoughts. And so you might be wondering, what did I even do yesterday? Because I didn't take any footage. Honestly, if I did, it would have been insanely boring. It was literally just me walking around outside, being alone with my thoughts, and then coming home to journal and just spill out mass amounts of words on multiple pages to give myself even more clarity. Then reading, meditating, coming back outside for another walk. Honestly, it was very boring, and it would have been even more boring to watch than just to live it. But I'll be honest with you, I also had a little nap in the middle of the day yesterday, which feels quite shameful to admit, because I value being awake and having energy and fighting fatigue with action, not by retreating in sleep. But honestly, it felt like I just couldn't help it, because I was absolutely exhausted yesterday. It's definitely the caffeine withdrawals coupled with the fatigue from the 1,000 push-ups and the fact that I had no fuel to recover from that fatigue. So all in all, that cocktail added up to just feeling in bits and pieces and laying down fully clothed outside my covers for just a zonked out nap, which I haven't done in so many years. I don't think I've ever fallen asleep in my clothes on top of my bed sheets without even getting in the covers. But yeah, it obviously, it felt a bit shameful waking up and realizing you fell asleep in the middle of the day. What a lazy cuck. But it's okay, because I spent the rest of the day carrying on, clearing my mind, detoxing from all this nonsense, and eventually going to bed early as well, getting enough sleep to the point of waking up just beaming with energy and feeling so fresh. And so for the rest of the day, it's going to be more of the same, with one massive difference. Obviously, I'm going to go home, I'm going to carry on journaling what actual problems I can solve and tangible value I can bring to my boys. And then after that, pretty much just go back to being alone with my thoughts. But luckily, there is a massive task, a physical challenge of today that will keep me distracted from my ever-growing hunger, which is the fact that I need to go to work today. Yes, that's right, I'm not liberated yet. I'm still a brokey wagey who needs to clock in to make his money to reinvest back into himself. Who's still got a bit of debt to pay off as well. So it's not all fun and games. I'm not speaking from a place of privilege in the sense of having put in enough effort to break free of the 9-to-5 rat race. No. Going to work today, which I'm actually looking forward to because I'm so dopamine detoxed, it's actually going to be enjoyable. And it's a manual labor job, which I have the perfect freedom to play music or audiobooks or podcasts all day if I want to. But today I will carry on this detox by sitting in silence and just doing the work. Sitting in silence with my best friend, the hunger. And that's it. I'm really looking forward to eating tomorrow. I'll probably show you that. Maybe I'll do another little update at the end of the day, but doesn't really matter, does it? Either way, I'm off. As the sun is setting on day 3, I can't help but reflect on just how much I couldn't stop thinking about food all day. Don't get me wrong, I also thought about other things. I strategized, spilled my value out on pen and paper. I read, don't get me wrong, that was a very good distraction from the hunger. But man, I can't wait for my feast tomorrow. And I'm going to show you exactly what it is because it's going to be beautiful. And I must say, this is definitely my record in terms of fasting. Because the last time I did a 3-day fast, it was over a year ago. And I didn't detox from everything. No, the only rule was no food for 3 days. On the first day, I still drank plenty of caffeine. And over the 3 days, I still, went on my computer to do work and consume content. And that time, I committed the ultimate cope. I told myself that I'd fast for 3 days, and as the 3rd day progressed, it got harder and harder and harder, and so I moved the goalposts just a little bit. Rather than going to bed hungry on that 3rd day, I last minute decided, oh wait, as long as it's been 96 hours, then it's been 3 days. And if the time that I eat on day 3 is after the time that I last ate, then it's fine. I've done the 3 days. But really, that was weakness. That was me giving up a little early and coming up with a convenient excuse. And what have you? I indulged. And I indulged in more than I bargained for. This time, it will not be the same. I will go to bed hungry, so it will be 3 full days and 3 full nights without any food. And when I wake up tomorrow, I will eat only what I'm planning on. Because during this time, I truly feel like I'm more mastered in terms of my urges and my vices. During these 3 days, my phone was beside me at all times. I could have easily caved in and started to binge on content. I was at home. I wasn't out in the forest like I've done before. I was at home with plenty of food ready to help myself to. Yeah, sure, I was out and about for a large chunk of these days, but I was also at home for a considerable portion. And I could have easily just caved and just ransacked my kitchen cabinets because there is some very tasty stuff in there. But no, I feel a lot more in control than I've ever been before. And as long as I reintegrate properly and I commit to staying low dopamine, I know that my goals are going to be so much easier to achieve. I'm going to be able to create with a lot more passion and vigor and actual motivation to do so, rather than just forcing myself to. And yeah, that's it. Today's gone. I'll see you for breakfast tomorrow.
Quick little physique update, both in downlighting and in natural lighting. And I'm definitely looking a bit flat. There is definitely lack of a pop to my muscles, as is to be expected when you're fasted and glycogen depleted. But it's time to fill those levels back up with a breakfast fit for a king.
Man, what a way to break a 3-day fast with nothing but clean, whole food that is extremely nutritious and delicious. Here we have a plate full of 6 golden yolk eggs, premium quality, and on the side here, it's not very presentable, but we have fried tomatoes with onions, avocado, topped off with some feta cheese. And here, the main event, we have ribeye steak. Unbelievably juicy, seared to perfection, hopefully medium rare. And for dessert, we have a mini platter of some mango and pineapple. Man, time to say grace, thank the Lord for his blessings, and move on to absolutely destroy this. And I'm not going to show it to you because you don't deserve to watch me eat.
After that magnificent feast, I'm obviously feeling a little bit slow, a little bit lethargic, if you will, because it's natural that after 3 days of having an empty stomach, suddenly filling it will spike the insulin, spike the prolactin, all of these brain slowing down hormones. And honestly, it's to be expected, but I really wish there was a way to have the mental clarity of fasting without the frantic fantasizing of food. But now that the 3-day fast is over, it's time to reintegrate back into normal life. Because every single time I've done one of these dopamine detox fasts, I immediately went back to my old habits as soon as it was over. Immediately went and rang the weed man, went and picked up, had a fat spliff, and went straight for the junk food. So, because of that, you must ask yourself, what was the point of doing that 3 days of suffering if you're just going to return back to the way you used to be? That's exactly why this time will be different. I will be reintroducing things a lot more slowly. As much as I wanted to go straight for the coffee today, I'm gonna take it chill. As much as I wanted to start pounding the loud hype music and aggressively attacking the weights fueled by caffeine and dopamine, no, I'd rather retain this lower baseline of dopamine because it makes me feel a lot more mentally clear and less chaotic. Because there is no truer, faster way to just bring entropy in your life than consuming content, caffeine, and low quality carbs. Honestly, that is a way to turn your brain into spaghetti bolognese. And nobody ever accomplished anything significant with a brain of spaghetti bolognese. So my reintegration process will be as follows. For the rest of today, there will be no high dopamine because now I know that I have what it takes to resist the urge to download YouTube, download Instagram, download dating apps and all that nonsense, and use my phone mindfully for the sole purpose of creating and working towards my goals. And now I also know that I can eat a lot more mindfully when I don't have content blasting in me at all times. Because you would expect that food-deprived lunatic with an aggressive appetite after 3 days of not eating would go on an absolute rampage and destroy everything around him in the quest to satiate his bottomless pit of hunger. That is not the case. As a matter of fact, the meal I ate filled me up a lot more than it would have done before my fast, simply because my stomach shrank. It's natural, obviously. But yeah, that's it. I've been rambling for long enough. You're probably sick of the sight of me if you've been watching this long. I would recommend this process to absolutely anyone who feels like they need a reset button and their mind has become a chaotic, scrambled mess.